Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talk It Out More. And I'm Henry Allen, and this is our weekly chat show about what's going on in the community. What do we have to talk up that we don't talk enough about as a community? And every week we have a special guest. Today we have, please introduce yourselves.
Hi, Tracy Chincola.
Tracy.
And I'm Karen Teisfer.
And we're going to be talking about fluoride today because it's a big issue right now. We've read about it in the news, in the media for years, actually.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing thing. And so tell us about what your involvement is in educating the public about fluoridated water and how it's affecting our community here on Cape Ann in the North Shore.
Well, I think that our objective is to educate the people of Cape Ann and the North Shore. Since I've become involved in it, which started in April, Gloucester is also involved. Well, Rockport, Gloucester, Newburyport, Topsfield, Amesbury has already voted to get rid of the fluoride. Wenham is not involved
In their water supply.
Yes, Amesbury has gotten rid of it. Cambridge is currently working to remove fluoride from the water supply. Concord also is working to remove fluoride from the water supply. So it is a huge, huge issue. And worldwide, over 10 million people within the past year have taken the fluoride out of their water, including the country of Israel and a lot of cities and towns across the United States. Portland, Oregon, once again voted to keep it out of the water. They've never fluoridated their water.
Wow, that's amazing. And why? Why are they all doing this? Why is it important that we do it as well?
Well, I think that with the increase in educational materials available on the internet, we get a lot more people realizing that fluoride has a lot of risks associated with it. The original studies done back in the 1940s and the 1950s have been discredited by a lot of sciences. The methodology, let alone the conclusions and results they came up with as far as fluoride goes.
Wow.
As recently as March of this year, the Lancet, one of the most prestigious medical journals in the world, the oldest medical journal in the world, published a peer-reviewed article calling fluoride a developmental neurotoxin.
Wow.
Yeah, a developmental neurotoxin is a neurotoxin which impedes the development of a child's brain, even in utero. When the mother is drinking fluoridated water, taking baths in fluoridated water, this goes to the fetus and can cause significant issues.
And we're seeing, I think, we're seeing so many children being put on drugs in school because of behavioral issues and because of attention deficit and things like that. And you have to wonder, could it be due to things like fluoride in the water that we take for granted? Now, I'm pushing 50, and I remember being a kid, PSA commercials on television saying, drink your fluoride water and use fluoride toothpaste and go to the dentist and they give you fluoride foam all over your mouth.
Well, that's it. Most people think of fluoride, they think of oral health. That fluoride is good for us, and they've been giving it to us because it helps prevent tooth decay.
It's like there was no option to not take it.
Well, they were just
to
promoting
not drink it, or to not use it.
And there's
when it's in the water, you don't have an option.
You don't.
You really don't. When fluoride is in your drinking water supply, it is literally impossible not to be exposed to it one way or another.
Well, I have a question about that. Mm-hmm. If you get a Brita filter, does that filter out the fluoride?
That will not filter out the fluoride. The
Really?
fluoride is a very tiny particle. You need a very advanced reverse osmosis filtration system to take the fluoride out of the water.
Those cost $6,000 or $7,000 at the least, so most households can't afford something like that.
Well, I know that a lot of the water that you can get in the grocery store, or the Dunkin' Donuts over by Walgreens off of Main Street, that they have an reverse osmosis tap that you can take your own jug, glass or plastic, whatever you prefer, and fill it up, and you can do it that way. It's kind of inconvenient.
Right, but the thing with reverse osmosis also is it also takes away all the nutrients in the water.
Minerals.
So the minerals, yeah,
The natural
all the natural,
occurring.
the good stuff that you
Right.
want in there.
Right.
And,
Which Brita
and
can also do.
with
Filter out a lot of those minerals.
But I buy bottled water. I buy spring water.
Mhm.
The Market Basket water, they have numbers on there, and you can call them, and they will tell you if they add fluoride or not. If it's a natural spring
Really?
water, generally they won't add any. There may be some fluoride in there naturally, but we're talking about sodium fluoride. And there's a big difference between the calcium fluoride that they say is naturally occurring in water, because they claim we're just adjusting what's naturally occurring in our water system. But sodium fluoride is not the same as calcium fluoride. And I think it's important, and people are starting to realize where it comes from, and no one realizes that it's not approved by the FDA. It is actually a hazardous waste byproduct of the aluminum and phosphate fertilizer industries.
Really?
What happened was they weren't allowed to let it spew into the environment, so they had to contain it. So they put these scrubbers, they call them, in the smokestacks. And they collect all the fluoride, it comes down, and it's in a powder form. They package it up. It is a hazardous waste byproduct. Now it's a hazard. It's a toxin. They can't dump it in the oceans, in the rivers, in the land. It's very expensive to dispose of. So they package it, and when they sell it to our municipalities, it becomes a product.
But why would cities and other municipalities and places that have a water supply, why would they dump this hazardous toxic byproduct into the water supply? That, I mean, it seems kind of insane.
Right.
Do they not know that it's a hazardous toxic byproduct?
Well, a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't, and a lot of times it's because like the doctors and the dentists, the ADA, the AMA, CDC, they all promote it, and it's been promoted a lot.
But they're not telling you if it's the difference between the calcium fluoride or the sodium fluoride.
And actually, and the sodium fluoride they put in our water today is imported from China. It's not even from the industries in the United States.
There are phosphate fertilizer. No, there are phosphate fertilizer plants in China with huge smokestacks. The fluoride is so toxic they can't allow it into the air.
That's like arsenic, the same thing. Remember the arsenic in the apple juice coming from China and all these other places? And that the arsenic is in the water supply there, so that when we get a product of apples that are grown from China in that water. You know, when I moved here to Gloucester, 4 years ago, I went to the Market Basket. When it first opened. You remember when it first opened? And it was around, I think, around this time of year. Maybe it was a little earlier in the fall. And all the corporate brass were hanging around like Lurch, you know, from the Addams Family. And just kind of like looming over everybody. And I went up to the fish counter because I wanted to buy local fish. I'm like, I'm in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I'm going to go buy local fish. And I went up to the case, and I see fish from China. I see fish from Thailand. I see fish from Australia. I see fish from Canada. I see fish from Iceland and South Africa and Chile. And there was no local fish. There were a couple of random USA, but nothing specifically local. And I talked to the manager of the fish department. I said, where's the local fish? He said, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean?
We live in Gloucester.
We live in Gloucester, Massachusetts. We have internationally renowned fishing waters here that we export fish from here all over the world. We're on the world map in terms of fishing. Why do you not serve local seasonal fish? He said, well, none of the fish that come from these other places are in season right now. I said, well, you know, people want what's local. They want what's seasonal. So why don't you just serve what's seasonal? And then they can wait for the next season of a specific kind of fish that they can, you know. So he says, well, do you think people would want that? I said, yes, I think they do. And he said, what do you suggest? And I said, well, if it were me, I would have my fishmongers wear a button or put a sticker on the case that says, ask us what's local. And actually carry local fish. Because I'm living in Gloucester. If I'm paying taxes here and I am, you know, supporting the local economy, and I want to support the local fishermen and women and the lobstermen and you know the fishing economy, and it's so important. And I don't want to be. And I said also think of the carbon footprint that's being created by freezing and then transporting these fish from all corners of the globe to here. And so I didn't think anything would come of it. I'm just one guy, right? I came back a couple weeks later. They had a big blue sticker across the front of the case that said, "Ask us what's local." And they were educated about what fish was local.
Great.
And the lobsters and other things. And, it's not there anymore. But my point is, I'm just a guy. I'm just one person who moved to Gloucester, and I went and I said, hey, I want to buy fish here, and I'm not going to buy it from you if you don't give me what I want, right? Now, if we're paying local taxes, right, and that is fueling our local economy and is also supporting our water and waste and everything else in the function of the city, it seems to me that we have the power.
We do. We do. We certainly do.
And it's this kind of a conversation that is so vitally important.
Yes.
We saw that with the whole, what do you call it, the 99%?
Yes,
1%,
Occupy.
The Occupy movement, right? Which kind of, what happened with that? I don't even know.
We're occupying fluoride
it's always something,
right now.
but that's what I'm saying. Is that I think it's going to specific issues like fishing and like fluoride.
Well, it's grassroots issues do have an impact.
Right. And this doesn't sound to me like it's some kind of conspiracy theory. This sounds like there are hard facts.
Oh no, everything can be easily documented and followed online. Fluoride is a federal policy. It's a policy, and so it will be a difficult fight. There's no doubt about it. The EPA tries to toe the government line and make fluoride work, but there is a union of EPA scientists and engineers. They formed the union.
That's the Environmental Protection Agency.
The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. They formed this union in order to distance themselves from the EPA's policies, because the scientists know that there is no safe level of fluoride. They know that. And so therefore they are stepping away from the EPA, formed a separate union, and have said fluoride is unsafe. They've spoken before Congress. And yet the EPA administration continues to push fluoride. In fact, the EPA scientists said the maximum contaminant level should be 0.2 parts per million. The maximum, and they call it a contaminant level. That should tell us something right there.
Yeah, right.
But the EPA administration said, no, make it 4 parts per million. And that's what they say. That's what they tell people. But the scientists know that
they've since
nothing is safe. Nothing
level.
Is safe.
From 4 parts. They started at 4 parts, and they've since lowered it.
Not the maximum contaminant level.
Oh, the maximum contaminant.
Right, but the amount in the water.
So we're not even just talking about tap water. We're talking about bottled water. We're talking about bubblers and schools.
Talking about processed foods.
Talking about processed foods and juices.
Milk, anything made with fluoridated water. So you're getting it from every angle.
Yes.
You're getting.
So what do you say to people who are like, I'm just one person and I can't do anything about it. So, I'm just going to I can't not eat. I can't not drink. I cannot get stuff for my kids. I can't afford, expensive
buying
water.
Bottled water all the time. Yeah, we say do what we're doing. We've started this organization, Cape Ann Fluoride Action Network, on Cape Ann, including Gloucester and Rockport. I'm representing Rockport today. Tracy's representing Gloucester. We have a number of members. We had a great turnout for a documentary. We had at the Cape Ann Cinema Monday evening for a documentary called Fluoride Gate. And this documentary is only 1 hour long, and it's easily accessible online on YouTube, and it's called Fluoride Gate, like Watergate, but Fluoride Gate.
That's very clever.
Yes, it is. And it's an excellent documentary just to educate yourself. And the other thing is join us and help us out. We have a Facebook page, Cape Ann Fluoride Action Network.
Okay.
We call ourselves CAFAN.
So like us. Give us the thumbs up.
We'll give you the thumbs up. I will also put links to Fluoride Gate video and a link to their Facebook presence down here in the doobly-doo. So,
and we've made
do you have a website as well for the local?
We don't.
Not yet.
But we would suggest fluoridealert.org. Is an excellent website.
So we'll add that right down below too. You can go there and find out more about it. Do you have a home base or someplace people can go to talk to, or a number, a hotline? Or
actually, we have a lot of handouts with our phone numbers on. You can contact us through email or right on our Facebook page. And we've made a lot of headway here. We're a small group. We started out with just 9 people. And we have, at the town meeting in Rockport, we have passed a resolution that we can have the fluoride as a referendum vote on the ballot in May.
Wow.
So Rockporters will be deciding whether they want to keep fluoride in their water.
Do we have that
and that's
in
why it's so important to educate them.
In Gloucester right now, we're moving forward, and our next step is on December 16th, we're having a citizens petition public hearing to discuss the discontinuance of fluoridation. Okay. The grounds that we're going before the city council is water fluoridation takes away our individual freedom of choice.
Yes.
We are all granted our medical freedom of choice within the USA.
Yep.
And within the Massachusetts State Constitutional. We have the option to choose whether or not to be medicated. And fluoride is being added to the water to treat tooth decay or prevent tooth decay. It's being used as a medicine. And therefore, it is violating our individual freedoms and our individual liberties. And who do we have to protect those liberties? It's our legislators, our city council.
Right.
So we're going before the city council to ask them to protect our individual right to choose.
So I will also post down below the link to the city councilor's page, so you can look in your district. And you can call them up and talk to them, send them an email.
Them.
Great idea.
The
They
more
need to
people
know.
that know about it,
Yep.
this is what education is about. And there are going to be two sides to every issue.
And show up at the public hearing.
Show up.
And we are strong in numbers.
Yes.
Well,
even if you don't say anything, if you're just there, and they see how many people are concerned about this
look at the
issue,
chickens.
Look at the chickens. 100 people showed up for the chickens. Can we
And
get
that was
100 people
unexpected.
for the fluoride?
Yes.
Right, and they had to put it off because there were too many people
and I think
there.
the chickens was really about our individual rights and liberties, our
That's
civil liberties. It's my backyard. I'm going to do what I want in my backyard.
Yes.
Well, in Massachusetts, I've been a nurse for a long time, and we have something called the Patient's Bill of Rights.
That's right.
And you have a right to refuse medication.
Yep.
When fluoride is added to our tap water, we lose the right of consent. I do not want a medication in my tap water, especially one with the risks that fluoride carries. It's a halogen. It really interferes with our endocrine system. There are so many risks involved with fluoride. I really hope that everyone starts to educate themselves, so that when it is time for you to vote, that you vote with the information you need to make a good decision.
It's so important. I want to thank you both for coming and being guests
Thank
on
you so
Talking
much
Up
for
More.
having us.
We could go on for hours
We
and hours.
could. Believe me.
But if you have any
Believe me.
questions, I will have some pamphlets here at the theater on hand. We are a service-oriented organization, even though we're just a theater. The impact, as we saw with the political theater, we do.
Yes.
We do get political, and we're all about the empowerment of this community to rise up and have a voice. I really especially invite 18 to 35-year-olds whose voice we don't hear in this community. I go to a lot of the city council meetings that are mostly pertaining to the arts and about cultural development and things like that.
That's true.
And I'm usually the youngest one in the room, guys. We've got to get more people together. I'm also going to put a link to 2020 Vision for Gloucester's Future. I would also like you both to be on that page as well and get more people involved.
Excellent.
2020 Vision for Gloucester's Future is all about coming up with a clear 2020 vision for what the Gloucester we want to see.
Yes.
And we're missing our youth voice. Where is your Gloucester?
Yes.
Do you want to have your water fluoridated? Do you want this to go just status quo? Or do you want to make change so that if you decide to raise your children here, that you know that you can turn on a tap and the chances of them getting sick or having issues in school or developmental or your baby, God forbid,
children.
And so,
Yes. Can I say one more thing about, because with the children, it really concerns me. I mean, the CDC and the EPA and the ADA all have said that children under 6 months really should have little to no fluoride at all, and yet that message is not being given out to mothers.
And we asked the Board of Health in Gloucester to put a warning on our water bills and the water report for mothers who have to, if you adopt a child, you're feeding
or fathers
them.
who have adopted. There are a lot of single dads out there. I was
Sorry,
one of them.
Henry,
And you're feeding them reconstituted formula, and you're mixing it with water. And people don't know that fluoridated water is harmful to infants because they're getting an overdose.
Or even the pre-prepared
Yeah, you mix it with water.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
or the ones that come pre-prepared
Yeah,
are
that is
probably
even
mixed
better.
with
Make sure there's
fluoridated
no
water.
fluoride
I bet
in
it's
there.
not on the label.
And it is
Yeah.
not on the label.
So
and,
you have a voice.
Yeah.
We all
Yes.
have a voice. I am so happy that you came today.
Thank
We'll talk
you.
more about this and other issues. If you have something that you'd like to talk up more, whether it's in your community, something that we can spread the word about, have a dialogue or a discussion about, with kids, I imagine that seniors are also at risk.
Very much so.
You know,
Increased fractures.
exactly. So let's get talking, everybody. Talk this issue up again.
Yep.
Down below. You can find links to everything, and we'll see you next week on Talk It Up More with a new special guest and a new subject to talk it up.
Thanks, Henry.
All right, thanks
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have a great
Bye.
week. Bye.